President of the Republic of the Philippines, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Kindly sit down. Salamat po. Executive Secretary Salvador Medallia, the other members of the Cabinet, Pasay City Representative Amy Calixto Rubiano, AFP Chief of Staff Ray Leonardo Guerrero, and other major service commanders, other distinguished guests, mga kababayan. I'm glad to be back from a second APEC Economic Leaders meeting in Da Nang, Vietnam. Together with other APEC economic leaders, we agreed to work tirelessly for free and open market and investment towards quality and innovative growth in the 21st century. Connectivity, the internet and the digital economy, public-private partnerships, and the other inclusion of MSMEs in global value chains were some of the salient points and shared priorities of economies in the Asia-Pacific. I had the occasion to discuss the importance of inclusive growth and the need to provide MSMEs with the opportunities to grow and become catalysts of national development. Putulin ko lang to. Ito yung mga maliliit na negosyo. Anything that is really provides money and make the economy go around. Mga kunting-kunting negosyo ng pangpaikot ng negosyo natin. Ito yung maliliit. And we discovered that almost about 70% of the total volume of trading all over the world, mga maliliit, contributing to the larger economy, yung may mga kapital talaga. Kaya ho naman, nagbubuhos ako ng pera dyan, and I will add more kung makakolekta si Secretary Dominguez ng pera. Alam mo, kinakain nito almusal, pati hanggang hapunan, pera. Walang na nakikita ito kundi pera. I need the money, but tapusin talaga natin dito yung korupsyon sa gobyerno. Meron doong desirability to open a business, pero yung lead time ng the ease, yung paano magmadali, na reflected doon sa report na medyo mababa tayo. And I have been, putulin ko muna itong papel, trying to control graft and corruption. I do not know how much we have restored the faith of the people in government. Basta ako, sinabi ko, importante mawala ang graft and corruption. Yun ang kampanya ko. That was the number one promise. Then the need to eradicate, kung kaya lang, ang droga. Itong law and order ang pangatlo, and this would greatly depend on the talks going on about Mindanao. And dito sa taas, itong naputol na usapan natin sa mga komunista. Sa Mindanao, it's proceeding well. Nandiyan na sa Congress yung proposal ng MILF. At kung magustuhan ng Congress, and they find no really a good reason to deny it, unless of course it runs counter to the Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines, which I hope can be solved by negotiation. Yan ho ang kailangan ko. I need peace in my country, and I need to get rid of corruption. Meron akong pinalabas na executive order na-announce na ata. And we have come up with the gamot of so many things there, including sa negosyo. And I am warning everybody. Again, marami na akong pinalayas sa gobyerno. Ayaw ko yung publicity. But I have fired so many people to date. At gusto ko pang kung sino yung nagpapahirap kasi ang bayan natin ang nahihirapan. You know, when you go into graft and corruption, even sa local level, yung permit, business permit to open an opportunity for investment there. For as long as they hang on to the papers, documents, further approval, at inabot ng minsan 6 months, naghihintay lang ng pera. And there was this group dito sa national na talagang, alam mo, sa totoo lang, cabinet members ko, nandito nila. They're only given 1 month. Kung 1 month na ang cabinet, lahat ng papilis na sa kanila, why can't a new business venture go ahead with the least worry of the routine business permit? I will suspend any local government official, and especially yung appointed by me. Marami yan. Pag nakita ko na pinapahirapan ninyo or you allow corruption to thrive in your locality, then as mayor or governor, I will order the new secretary of the DILG, yung chief of staff si General Anyo, to investigate you in this give you about 3 days to explain. If I am not satisfied, layo ng delay, kasi gusto ninyo pera. Yan ang problema dyan. Ngayon, nakita ko doon, all okay tayo. We're one of the fastest growing economies. But I want to hurry it more. And the only way to do that is yung nakalagay na maluwang ba doon to get the papers to start the business. And again, I reiterate my warning to the cabinet members. 1 month. 1 month palabasin mo, either you deny it and state it clearly why, or do not hang on to the papers, or I will just, give me a reason to doubt about your integrity and honesty, and I will fire you. Pahirapan dito ngayon kasi gusto ko na the next generation, okay na ang buhay nila. Then drugs, anak ka ng, maniwala ko, uupakan ko talaga yun. Despite or in spite kung sining magsisigaw dyan, wala akong pakialam. Basta sinabi ko, ayaw ko talaga yan. I'm just trying to gauge the improvement that has been introduced. I have allowed PDEA to have the exclusive. So nawala na. For the longest time, I haven't had any talk with the PDEA. Titignan ko lang kung tataas. Pagka tataas, babalik ang pulis. Pag magbalik ang pulis, yun ang trabaho nila. Destroy the drug syndicates. How? Gamitin na ninyo ang pagkapulis ninyo, pagkasundalo ninyo. And again, I say, problema ko yan. Hindi niyo problema yung kaso-kaso. Ayaw mo silang magreklamo, let them raise hell. I do not really give it. Ulitin ko yan. I'm doing it because I have to improve the situation of my country. Kung aabot ako dyan ng 5 taon plus, at wala akong nagawa, at ang corruption pa rin nandyan, ay mag-resign na lang ako. Ano man sa akin niya, I have served you for so many months. Anyway, and if I think that I could not really deliver the goods, mabuti pa ma-resign na ako. Bigay ko na lang sa iba. Kung hindi ko kaya, di sabihin ko sa inyo, hindi ko kaya. Pero gusto ko kasi, compared Vietnam, it was a hard war. At makita mo gaano kalinis, gaano ka-orderly ang tao doon. Kasi sumusunod. I do not criticize you in public while I am outside of the Philippines. But kung ako na baski na may press, mag-usapan na tayo ng matino, may ibang istorya yan. Either I get the results by early next year, running government pati yung online, sinabi ko na online na lang, passport online, clearance is online. Gamitin na ninyo because it is the digital age. Ang pag-asa natin ay ang mga anak natin. So they have to learn the basics about cyberspace and everything. Digital communications. And I will make mandatory. Instead of textbook, bibili na tayo ng for each of the children. Mag-aral na sila ngayon as early as first year. Mandatory na lahat ng gobyerno sa atin is to provide the textbooks and of course, learn how to use the computers and everything. And I will save enough money for this. It's going to be billions what I will save for something that is beneficial to our children. Wala na akong ano dito. As I see the panorama here, puro wala namang alam. Kung mag-criticize kala mo sino, inayaan ko na lang. Hindi, wala tayong alam dito, wala tayong kayo, baka akala ninyo wala akong alam. Anak. But you know, that is politics. And for those just like the others, ayaw maka-accept ng talo. Well, I'm sorry for them. I would not waste my time. Tarry, just because I have to answer you. Anyway, hindi naman ako makatakbo uli. All I have to do is really just to work for the country. I will hindi good governance. Sabihin ko lang, Commission on Governance. Bahala na sila and all available. Ilagay ninyo dyan sa 888. Baski hindi ninyo, ayaw ninyo yung pangalan ninyo, you can use your alias. But for every report of corruption, bigyan ko ng importansya. I really want corruption to stop. Hayaan mo yan mga daladaan, hindi totoo yan. Wala kaming milyon-milyon. Kaya sabi ko, kung hindi ko kaya, paalis ako. Pero susubukan ko, maybe next year. At tignan ko talaga kung ano ang takbo ng bayan natin. But one is corruption, then drugs, because it is dragging us down. Wala akong pakialam kung sinong magdaldal dyan. You can even talk to the devil. I really do not care. I'll just work and work on the promises that I made to you. Corruption, drugs, and law and order. Dito sa tatlo, medyo mahirap. You just to bear with me because it is really not easy to seek peace just like the clip of your fingers. I also discussed the importance of human capital development in nurturing our talent pools towards sustainable employment and services competitiveness. I spoke of how, in a region whose population is predominantly young, marami tayong, yung ibang matatanda na, aging society, they call it, zero ang increase ng population nila. Kaya they are worried who will run the country 2 or 3 generations from now. Tayo ang mayroong marami. At let us take advantage of our young population and give them the necessary knowledge and the tools to make this country a place where you can live. Hindi na wala akong nangako na magandang buhay. I said to you, I would just like to make every Filipino comfortable. Pati yung crime, it has to stop. Yung crime sa streets. So kayong mga human rights, you have all now the time to go around and convince these people to stay clear. As I have said, I have been running, meron akong sa Davao, it was about 22 years ago, may na ako, drug rehab. Ang mag-slide, the chances of getting back into that sticky business of drugs is about 8 mag-slide, 2 lang ang mag-succeed. That's on record. Now, if you can, yung iba, kung madala sa pagdasal, di pagdasal ninyo. It can be run as a neighborhood thing, then do it. Basta ako, ayaw ko talaga. Wala na akong magawa dyan, wala na rin kayong magawa dyan, nabitawan ko na yan. Kasi papatayin mo man ako o hindi, gagawin ko yan kasi pangako ko yan sa tao. And I do not just take my word back, lalalo ng itong mga ganitong problema. For after all, it's all wrong. What is right in corruption? Anong makita mo diyan sa droga na makapabuti sa ating bayan? Kaya by next year, kung buhayin pa ako ng Panginoong Diyos, I want the country to go a notch higher. 1 bar, 2 bars higher than what we have now. That's my only dream. And after that, I can retire or die immediately. Gagawin ko yan. Wala na tayong magawa dyan. Nasabi ko na yan. And I won because of the platform. Ano man sinabi ko sa inyo? Corruption, droga, law and order. I'll talk to the rebels, both on the ideological, pati yung territorial dito sa Mindanao. If I succeed, then papasalamat ako sa Diyos. If I fail, then you can condemn me for the rest of our life. I mentioned how the Philippines will increase infrastructure spending to realize the golden age of infrastructure that will enhance mobility and connectivity, both by air pati physical. That's how connectivity is defined dito ngayon. In my engagement with the foreign and business leaders during the APEC Summit, I have called on businesses to adopt inclusive business models to improve the capabilities of the poor, facilitate their access to finance, and open up to the MSME's participation. Ang isa niyan is mga lupa natin. We have practically given up our farms because we have the least. Pinaupahan mo yung lupa mo kasi mas malaki ang saging. But most of the saging are in the hands of the multinationals. So, binigay na natin because it is a cash crop. Pera eh. Pag-harvest mo ng banana, pag-export pera. Well, it was the expense also of the decrease in the land dedicated to our pagkain, the food crop. So in many areas, wala na nagtatanim. Inaamaduno na yung mga lupa nila, 1 or 2 hectares mahirap, or give it up for growing pineapple, banana. All export. At wala na tayong lupa na sapat para sa pagkain ng Pilipino. And we are increasing in numbers as the population has almost exponentially naging 110 million na tayo. We have to survive. We have to do something about it. My participation in the APEC leaders meeting this year is especially meaningful because 2017 is an important year of the Southeast Asia as Vietnam chairs APEC and the Philippines chairs the ASEAN. I spoke on behalf of the ASEAN in the first ever dialogue between APEC and ASEAN, the two international groupings which are the most things important to our country today. 7 of the 10 ASEAN member states are also APEC members, and their economies expands just like what is bound to happen, and that is working for your country. Basta dito, magtrabaho ka sa gobyerno, isipin mo muna yung interest ng gobyerno. The interest of government must bago yung bulsa ninyo. But I have said, I hate corruption. Maniwala man kayo, okay lang. Ayaw ninyo maniwala, okay rin. Basta sinabi ko na nag-warning ako. Ayaw ko talaga. Do not hang on to papers and documents beyond what I have ordered in that executive order. Otherwise, look for another job. During this dialogue, I discussed on how ASEAN economic community has opened up prospects for further growth and how APEC should grasp the opportunity presented by ASEAN integration to build a larger and potentially more prosperous mega-region. I have pledged that the Philippines would implement a human approach to development and governance and would undertake all efforts to achieve inclusive, sustainable, and resilient growth for every Filipino. I also would like to share with you that I had a bilateral meeting with President Tran Cô Quang of Vietnam, the current host of the APEC, and our ASEAN fellow members, with whom we have a rich and deep relationship. I also met with the Prime Minister Peter O'Neill of Papua New Guinea, the incoming chair of APEC, to whom I extended our support for their chairmanship in 2018. I also took the opportunity to meet my counterparts from many economies. I renewed my friendship with President Vladimir Putin of Russia and President Xi Jinping of China. About 2 hours and a half, or 3 hours ago, my last bilateral was with President Xi Jinping. And doon in the open, kasama ko mga official, and I see a very bright future for our relationship. Nothing to do with military. As I have stated before, and I was not lying, I would not entertain talks about military or anything, except that I had to thank Mr. Xi Jinping for the timely and crucial help that he extended to our country when we were fighting the siege of Marawi. Kasama na doon si President Putin. We also had the talk bilateral. Kami pati yung cabinet members ko. And it was a very fruitful one. They have extended their open support for us in fighting terrorism and drugs. And almost all of them also have the same problem. So madaling kausapin because we are just also suffering from the same discords with drugs. We would like to thank Vietnam for graciously hosting APEC this year, and we look forward to the APEC meeting in Papua New Guinea next year. Now it shall be our turn to welcome to Manila our distinguished leaders and guests to the 31st ASEAN Summit and related matters. Ang pinaka-meaningful na bilateral ko, yung sa Russia, pati sa China. And I assured President Xi Jinping of our friendship and that it will remain warm and robust. Wala kaming pinag-usapan. The cabinet members were there, all of them. Members took up, except they say that he's supporting me doon sa insurgency pati sa drugs and the help that they can extend to us. Yun lang, at nakikita ko ang natalo tayo sa rating, Vietnam, had to endure the war for so many years is hindi naman living off more than the others. But at the rate they are improving, they will catch up with us in due time. What would pull us down? It is law and order and drugs and the rebellions. The critical ones actually would be how we deal with the MI and MN. Sila lang ang gusto kong kausap. Ayaw ko ng ibang, I will not even with one sentence, lalo na sa terrorism. Di talaga pwede makipag-usap yan. Dito sa komunista, so it's not my place. Kanila yon. Kung nakikita nila na mali lahat ng ating ginagawa as they are trying to proclaim on the streets, then why the heck deal with us? Kung ganun pala kami kasama ang gobyerno, kung ano-ano pinagsasabi mo, and yet the taxation, makikita mo na sinunog yung traktor, sinunog yung all because of extortion. Was it yesterday or the other day before I left? O may inambo sila na convoy. Namatay yung pulis, pati sugatan ang apat ata. They also killed in the process a 6-month-old baby. I hope the human rights would take the cudgels for them. Tayo, we will pursue them to the ends of the world. If you are guilty of a crime, hindi na rebellion sa akin eh. There is no more ideology, so I do not recognize the crime of rebellion. One, because if you're just a member, you can piansa, bail. And when you once impose your bail, go back to the mountains and fight my soldier. Ako yung commander-in-chief eh. Police. Ako yung police ng PNP. Pati yung police pinagpapatay niyo, then we want to start to talk. I really do not know. I made something like a promise to them that I would not talk about these matters. But it was given, I think, to Doresa or Bello, I forgot, or to the two of them. Pero I am not bound by any commitment with anyone. I will do what is to the best interest of the Filipino people and my country. Wala na akong ano dyan. If you think that we do not serve your ear because all of us in government are corrupt, tapos mamatay tao, then do not talk to us, period. We can end the talks right here. I really do not care. There's always a time for everything. Maybe lahat ng panahon sa mundong ito may kanya-kanyang. So, there's always a time to talk about peace if it's needed, then if it's not, then we will fight. But I would not subserve any other interest except the Filipino people. I can answer some. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, we have a question from Yan Fangzhu of Phoenix Television.
Yes, ma'am.
Morning, Mr. President.
Can you talk louder? Hindi ata na.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. President. I'm
Yes.
Yan from Phoenix TV, Hong Kong. We interviewed you before your state visit to China last year.
Yes.
And first of all, welcome back. And I know you already mentioned this earlier, but how was your bilateral meeting with President Xi Jinping? Was he able to confirm when he's coming over for the state visit, and maybe what other issues were also tackled? Thank you.
He said that he confirms everything that he promised. And the construction of the 2 bridges that would span Pasig River, dalawang sinabi niya, will start immediately. He said it in front of everybody, and John Anyo nandun, because I was worried that if there are some matters which would take a military mind to answer, I have a ready reference. But everything went smoothly, and the president of China said that he would honor what he promised. And I had a mention about because I had to answer it myself because we are the chairman now, me, of the ASEAN. So everything they wanted to know, sabi nga niya, well, we were joking, we were banter between, ikaw kasi, mas gusto mo yung sabi ko, hindi, we look upon you as a country with an honor. I was just trying to perform my duty as the chairman. Wala nang iba, and he understood it. I was talking about Korea and the South China Sea. He gave specific answers, and we all listened. And I had to rely on my commitment, not at this time. But we will talk about this somehow during my term. I was talking about the military build-up system. It's nothing. He knows that if he goes to war, everything will blow up. He acknowledged that war cannot be promoted by anybody, but it would only mean destruction for all of us. And I believe him because, like me, he's worried about the health and the problem of his countrymen. We have the same problem. We share the same problem, actually, governance.
Sir, was he able to confirm when his state visit to the Philippines will be?
I said I extended it again, and the Philippines will be honored if he visits us. I said in due time, at the mutual convenience of both countries. Haiti promised that I also given again an invitation to go back to China, whether as a friend, official, not official visits. That you can go to China if you want to observe anything and promote the same the physical features of what you see now. Pwede mong tignan, and you can go there as a tourist, and we will guide you and show you the factories and all. And maybe you can learn something very useful for your country.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. President, we have a question from Trish Terada of CNN Philippines.
Hi, Mr. President. Good evening. The opening of the ASEAN lanes caused massive traffic the whole day here in Metro Manila, especially in our major thoroughfares. And there were really many angry motorists who took their sentiments on social media. Well, my question is we know that this is something that you hate. This is something that you don't want to happen. Is this something that you would want the organizers of the ASEAN to address really soon?
Yeah, what is best for the moment? What is needed for the moment? We will go by the catchword need. Is there a need? If there is, then we'll do it. If there is no need for it, or if it would be detrimental to the people, then I would not do it.
Okay, thank you.
We have a question from Nestor Corrales, Mr. President. Nestor Corrales is from the Philippine Daily Inquirer.
Good morning,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
President. Sir, did you raise the issue on South China Sea and the UN Arbitral Tribunal ruling during your bilateral meeting with President Xi Jinping?
Yes. He discussed the South China Sea. Yes. I said he was quite surprised about my coming in very strong of my statement here about the conduct of the sea. I said, I'm not raising any sovereign issue. Do not worry. But I said, as chairman, I was made a tunnel for the communications to be active. And I said, I had to do it because the Philippines chairs the ASEAN now. Hindi naman ako pwedeng I cannot escape that from my duty. So I have every right to ask him. But I explained it to him in a very nice way that that was all there is to it. Now that he have explained, and I said, he assured us again Now, do not worry, you have all the rights of the safe passage. And so that's that will be also be applicable to all countries. Alam mo kung bakit? Ganito yan eh. There are many people cornering me with questions about the South China Sea. Alam mo, if I raise the issue now, when there are conflicting contestants, 6 tayong nag-aagaw dyan. And if mag-ano siya, for example, sabi niya, okay, you can have this, you can have that, whatever it is, baka maghingi ang Taiwan because Taiwan is making noise there also because they have an overlapping claim between the Philippines. They know about Vietnam. Then the Singapore, Indonesia, they are all claiming the arbitration rendered by the International Court does not mean anything to anybody except China, which does not want to follow, and us to insist. And that would be not the most awkward time to do it. Kasi kung sabay-sabay sila, mawala yung atin. Why? Because these contesting parties or countries are not parties of interest sa kaso. Wala silang pakialam doon. Inyo lang yan ng China. Do not drag us down with your claim an expanded jurisdiction because we are not bound by it. If you want, you can file another arbitration between us and what country do you have in mind? It's going to be very messy for the Philippines to handle that. Kausapin mo na lang muna siya. Total, nandiyan na rin siya. Of the so many contesting countries, he's the only one doing it. And he has the money and the arms to do it. So, even if you get the victory by what? By war? Then you have another one going to the arbitration court. We are not a party to the case. So what would stop them? It's called stoppel. What would stop them from claiming the same rights? Yan ang problema. Talking about China, China. Ang China ayaw talaga. So there's only one remedy. And you know what it is. Can we afford it? And even the powers all over the world, they're very careful with that. And if we want to enforce it, by what means? Sige nga.
Sir, did you also raise the need to have a final code of conduct of parties on the South China Sea? Since member states of the ASEAN...
Yes. President Xi Jinping mentioned about a summit or a meeting multilateral only to talk about the rules of conduct. It has nothing to do with sovereignty. If you go to the negotiating table and you start with the statement that I am here to claim validity of our ownership, you're wasting your time. They will not talk about it. And, we are almost fine-tuned to the realities of the moment. But there will always be time, I said, that we have to talk about this. The Philippines and China, minus everybody. Kasi tayo lang yung pumunta sa korte. Tama yung ginawa ni Aquino, no doubt about it. Tama si Carpio. But what will happen if they would also start filing cases now before the arbitration as against any number of countries, the 5 or 6 remaining? You think we can handle it? And if we win still, can we enforce it? Third is maybe begs the issue, but are we prepared to go to war? That's we never surrendered anything. just say, I do not want to talk about this for the moment. It is not time for aggression. It is not time for violence. We have so many problems domestic to take care of before we start to venture on some sort of an aggressive stand.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Johnson,
Good morning.
BBC News. You had the chance to meet President Trump in Vietnam.
Yes.
How did that meeting go, and what did you talk about?
Well, I shook his hand, and before the closing, kept on saying bye-bye. I said, I'll be there. And he said something about, you handle it very well. Magyabang pa ako, ayaw ko ng ano. I do not want to, those are the things that you do not brag about. The Marawi and the drug, words of encouragement. Not extrajudicial killing, because he cannot afford it. We do not talk about these things because, first of all, they are not true, and the second is we do not do it. And I said, you have to find a soldier or a policeman anywhere in the country why I ordered the killing of a man on bended knees in surrender or lying down. If at all, criminal liability is personal. That's the rule. When you commit a crime and there is no conspiracy, it is you. It is not transferred to anybody else. Now, by saying that I will destroy you, I'll kill you, that is not a conspiracy. That is the rage in my heart for treating the Filipinos like a shit. Yes.
So you didn't discuss EJKs with Donald Trump, but you meet him again this week. In the
I'm
coming
sure he will not take it up.
Will you discuss it with him in the coming days?
But he is not the Human Rights Commission. So it's only the representatives there. Because the U.S., like the Philippines, is run by three great departments. But I said the politicians there seems to be in parity with the president. And that is why when they disallowed by resolution, I think, which did not materialize, questioning the sale of military rifles for the police, and we received a rebuke. I went to China and Russia. Where else would I go for quality of where start to manufacture, but not in large numbers.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
J.P. Soriano, Mr. President, is from GMA 7.
Mr. President, good evening, and congratulations from a productive trip. Sir, may I just briefly briefly go back to the topic of code of conduct. Sir, the ASEAN has long held the position that the code of conduct must be legally binding, but China opposes it. Is this something, to have the code of conduct legally binding, is this something that you would convey to Premier Lee when it comes to Manila for the
We
ASEAN?
never talk about sovereignty. We talk of who's holding the cannons there and who has the might to enforce it. If it comes to the fundamentals, if it's just a matter of talking hard and making threats, the United States did it for so many years now. As a matter of fact, the Seventh Fleet has 2 aircraft carriers there. Not to mention the submarines prowling around the town of the Korean Peninsula. I said nobody wants to talk about it because it is not the time. It is not the time.
Right.
And you can only resolve it through dialogue and mutual consideration. Right. At this time when everybody has in his pocket a large number of nuclear arms, China, America, Russia, Iran, North Korea, it is not a good time to talk about quarrel.
Sir, the ASEAN and U.S. chair, as his chair, are expected to sign in the next few days the ASEAN Consensus on the Promotion and Protection of the Rights of the Migrant Workers. It's considered as the centerpiece of your chairmanship.
No, one of the, even the trafficking,
Yeah.
the more serious one is the trafficking of human beings, especially, and we're doing it here. There are provinces and cities who kidnap children and women, young men, and they are sold to slavery. It is existing here. And that was my warning about a month ago, that this time I will not tolerate that kind of situation, where you kidnap people, babies, young, and they grow up really thinking that they are really slaves. Hindi pwede yung ganun. Hindi ko matanggap yan. Kagaya ng droga, hindi ko talaga matanggap yan. So I'm just warning, alam ko yung nakikinig sa akin, alam nila sila ang gusto kong upakan. Pero hindi ko matanggap yung mag-kidnap ka ng isang tao tapos maglaki siya akala niya. And he would have lost his universal identity. Hindi niya akalain anak pala siya ng tapos bata pa na kidnap. Pagka ganon, I am ready to send again the force of might of government. I will not allow it.
Thank you, sir.
That's the most cruel joke gawin sa kapwa mo tao. Di ko kayang tanggapin yan, just like drugs.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. President, our last question is from
Ay.
Ai Makaraig of the Agence France Presse.
Good morning, Mayor, and welcome back. My question is, President Trump has declared the U.S. opioid crisis a national public health emergency. How big of a problem is opioid addiction here in the Philippines? And do you see areas of cooperation with President Trump in fighting the common problem of illegal drug addiction? Thank you.
I will not give you a specific answer out of respect. I have my own problem, and you would just say to me, take care of your problem. There's a lot of mess around there in your country, so why mess up with me? And as I said, as a sovereign, only if he asks me informally, sabi niya, paano mo ginawa yan? Well, of course, stricter rules and hard enforcement. Kasi dapat malaman niya to use the precursor ng mga drugs. I promised to give you one. I hope that it was already given to you. Of all the description, including the World Health Organization, yung iba, there's an aberration in the mind. But ang shabu lang, because among others, itong poppy, cocaine, hash, yung lahat, are really grown from the opium plant. Itong shabu is a chemical mix. That is why, ngayon, alam na nila kung bakit lumalaban. Now, all you have to do is to read the, it's a publication by the United Nations. And nakakatawa dito because risks. Itong dito lang sa ecstasy, ganon, but the harshest heroin, ganon, it alters the mind. But itong methamphetamine, shabu, sabi ng United Nations na, shabu use sometimes triggers aggressive, violent, and bizarre behavior. Kaya makita mo, pag pinapatay niya ang asawa niya, sisigaw siya, pinatay ko na si Duterte. Or he cuts off the heads of the other members of the family. Comes up with a I don't know what's the, saan ang cover nito? There's a cover here. It's the International Narcotics Control Board, INCB. Precursors and chemicals frequently used in the illicit manufacture of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. Publication, United Nations. There's a copy, another copy published by the World Health Organization. Tapos kita mo yung mga ano, you know, they come to the Philippines and say, you know, Duterte, that's a social problem. It's an health issue. So, kung ganon, at ipinakita nitong mga, wala, ito lahat, siraulo. Oh, ito yung listahan. 10,000, it varies. 4,000, 6,000, 7,000, 10,000. Gamihin mo ng 20. Bilangin nila ilan ang namatay. Tapos, if it's a social problem, you look at it as a social problem. Why? How? How did it happen? How did it evolve? Di baliktarin mo, drugs destroyed, how many? Dito sa, wag na yung iba, 1,200,000 sabi ni Bato, 1,400,000. You know, even if it's only one Filipino, tapos gawin mong ganun buhay sa, and he is in a state of slavery. Yan ang masakit sa akin. Walang ginagawa na to kung hindi maghanap ng chemicals. Pag wala, magpatay. And that's the other side of the story. Just keep on. Hindi na alam nga ito talagang namatay sa enkwentro. And I do not need to point out why. What are the facts? God, look at your studies here. And you think that you are, ang pagkaalam kasi nitong, they interpret it as itong nangamatay, parang mga santo. Santo Rolando, Santo Ernesto, Santo... Hindi naman tinitignan kung ang kasalanan ng mga... Yan ang mahirap dyan. So, what they report to their NGOs that, according to, including the European EU. Sabi ko, wala bang abogado sa inyo dyan? Magtanong ka, why? So many there, but ang raming namatay nito, ano, bakit? O the answer is on the other side of the paper. Because they are into a bizarre and horrendous thing. They go crazy. That is why ayaw maniwala kung sabihin pinatayan ng pulis, sabihin lang yan. Hindi naman lahat ng pulis pumatay. Kita mo yung sa Caloocan, pinaghahabol pa ng adik, natumba na yung mama, ayaw pa rin bumaril. It was only when he fell down and was struck, about to be struck on the breast, he fired his gun. O pero charge nila yun sa extrajudicial killing. Plus na yun. You know what? It's all right to criticize. But to invite other nationals to help you out to fight a political war here. Talagang, kaya ako, nagsusuplado. Kaya ako narinig mo, minumura ko sila. Talagang sinasadya ko, binabastos ko sila. Kasi kasimpleng problema, tingnan mo, bakit hindi mo tignan sa kabila? Ilang bata namatay? Ilang mga anak natin ngayon na sira ang buhay? Ay, biro mo, keep on repeating the numbers of AJK. Kung ako nga, sabihin lang ngayon, sige. Yung yung pinaka 10,000 victim. Sige nga. Tell me, where was it? Where was the killing? How was he killed? Where? And for what reason? Hindi mo masagot yan. And every time you just say, you do not give this guy the due process. Well, how about me? The right to be heard is of American audience. Ganila yung konstitusyon eh. Kinupya lang natin or it was imposed on us. Ayaw ko magsalita against America because invariably I would be, well, not really, it would reflect on Trump. I do not want to miscalculate everything, but I have to say something which the truth in some matters. Basahin lang nila ito, galing ito sa kanila. Cannabis. Ang the most telling characteristic nandoon sa shabu because it makes the guy violent and aggressive, pati bizarre behavior. Yan ang bizarre behavior. Yan. Pinapatay yung mga bata, pinapatay yung mga babae, kaya nung sa Bulacan, pinatay na yung nanay na bulag, pinatay yung asawa, pinatay yung 14 years old, pinakialaman pa yung 1-year-old. Tapos sabi mo, extrajudicial killing. Tama kayo. Ako ang umabot doon. Talagang harap ng... Hindi ko kaya yung gano'n. Eh, sabi ko sa inyo, hindi ko masikmura yung gano'n. Well, ganito ang... This is what I am. Maybe I am another bizarre guy. Good. Because I'm facing so many bizarre persons in front of me.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. That concludes our press conference tonight, and
Thank
welcome
you.
back to the Philippines. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
The most productive, by the way, was our talk with President Xi Jinping and President Putin. And in front of my cabinet members, both countries, through their presidents, reiterated, we will support you and we will provide you anything you need to solve this problem of terrorism partition. Terrorism, no quarters given, no quarters asked. I said they're preparing for retaliation. Well, just pray to God that it will not happen, but if it happens, I said, no quarters given, no quarters asked. Maghanap na muna sila ng remedy kung magkita kami, pero as I said during the campaign, and I was asked, I think it was in Lasal, how would you deal with terrorists and drugs? I said, harshly. And you can look for the meaning of the word harsh in the dictionary. And that is the way, that is my campaign promise. I will not, for the life of me, renege on that promise because I won on the basis of those promises. Maraming salamat po.